And good Tuesday morning, and welcome to episode 50 of the Inside Drive podcast. Excited to have Anna Branch in studio with us today. She's the Bay High girls weightlifting head coach and the boys weightlifting assistant coach. Her daughter Sarah is a wrestler for Bay High as well. But before we get to Sarah, I do want to talk about the official juice of the Inside Drive podcast. That is Juice and Sunsets. Most people aren't getting the vitamins and nutrients their bodies truly need from everyday foods alone. Busy schedules, processed meals, and depleted soils make it harder than ever to fuel our bodies properly. When your body is undernourished, it can't perform at its best. Energy drops, immunity weakens, and inflammation creeps in. Fresh, nutrient-dense juices are simple, powerful ways to bridge that gap. They deliver essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants in a form your body can easily absorb, helping you feel better, think clearer, and make healthier choices one sip at a time. Visit Juice and Sunsets on Facebook to learn more, or head over to juiceandsunsets.com to place your order. They do both pickup and delivery, from the Tapestry Park area. And of course, Golf Plus. If you're looking to elevate your golf game with custom-fitted clubs and pro-level gear, step into Golf Plus, a golf retail fitting and destination with roots all the way back to its founding in Dothan, Alabama in 1988. At Golf Plus, the focus is simple. Get you fitted right. Use industry-leading technology like the Foresight Game Changer 2 launch monitor in not one but two simulators, as well as advanced shaft matching systems to dial in the perfect club for your swing. Whether it is a full set or just a retrofit of your current clubs. But it's more than just golf clubs. Golf Plus is a full-service shop from expert grip work, loft and lie adjustments, to quality repairs and curated selections of top brands. You'll find everything you need to play your best. And now with its renovated golf shop in Panama City Beach, locals and golfers visiting the Gulf Coast can enjoy a premium fitting experience and apparel selection right next to the sandy beaches. Whether you're a beginner or seasoned player, Golf Plus delivers personalized service, cutting-edge technology, and gear you can trust. Book your custom fitting or stop by today, because the right equipment can make all the difference out on the course. They are located at the shops at Edgewater next to Firefly. Give them a call at 850-249-2726 or visit them online at golfplusretail.com. They also, Alan wanted me to let you guys know, if you were a big fan of the PXG golf brand, they just got them in there. As I mentioned, we have Anna Branch. She's the Bay High girls weightlifting head coach and the boys assistant coach in studio with us today. Anna, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you coming in with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. How are you doing?
I am exhausted and excited.
There you go. Busy trip starting tomorrow, right?
Yes, we hit the road for Orlando tomorrow morning.
All right, just have some questions for you today. So a lot of these questions I do in these interviews are curious questions that I have as well. Yeah. So how long has the girls wrestling team been going on there at Bay High?
Bay High School has had girls wrestle on and off for several years, but they've wrestled on the boys team. And 3 years ago, my daughter was a freshman, and she asked me if she could wrestle, and we spoke to the coaches because our son was on the team. And they said, would you help us establish a girls program? And I said, yes. So we jumped in, and the first year, we had two girls wrestling, my daughter and one other girl who ended up quitting. And then we've had a team grow since then. The next year we had 8, and this year we had 9 girls. And so it's continuing to grow each year. So we've officially had a team for 3 years, but this is the first year that the school board has given us any funding.
Awesome. So with all that being said, how did you and Sarah get started in wrestling?
My daughter has always been athletic, and she did aerial gymnastics for years. And the first year my son wrestled at Bay, we hosted a tournament, and when we were cleaning up, I looked over, and she was wrestling some of the boys, and they were like, she's really strong and coordinated, and she immediately was like, this is for me. I want to do this. So it has been an adventure.
And, with that being said, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah is the first girl in Bay High girls wrestling history to qualify for the state tournament.
Yes, this was a huge deal. She told me her freshman year that she would be the first one.
Awesome.
And I said, we'll prove it. And she did.
Goals are so important to get out there and, of course, follow as well. What separates Sarah from the rest of the girls wrestlers?
I have several girls on the team that are truly dedicated and have worked really, really hard. But I have watched Sarah her freshman year. Her season ended early from blowing her knee out and having knee surgery. Her sophomore year, her season ended at districts because she once again blew her knee out. And so this time we took extra time for rehabbing it, extra care. And she set a goal of making it to state this year. And I watched the other girls mimic her. They've worked hard. They just aren't quite there yet physically, knowing exactly what to do, where Sarah, because of her experience with the gymnastics and aerial, knows how to move her body, and it becomes natural to her. And so she has pushed forth with a redemption story to get through and become the first one to qualify.
That's awesome. And I was going to kind of ask you about that as well. How, I mean, obviously injuries and setbacks are never good, but sometimes stuff like that can really change your motivation and show how much perseverance, resilience, stuff like that, which is what you need when you're going to progress really in any sport such as life as well. I'm sure this means a lot to you, but how special has it been to share this momentous achievement with your daughter?
Oh my gosh. Even going back to her freshman year, her first place win just meant so much that I jumped up on the block with her and stood there and took a picture because it was like, okay, we did it. We're established a team and you're winning.
Yep.
And so to watch her punch her ticket on that last regional match, I kind of sat there silent because it had not clicked. And then I heard the crowd and all the Bay High boys had come to watch. And as soon as I realized it was tears streaming down my face, and it was just epic.
I don't know if there's anything better than watching your kids succeed at that kind of level. That's for sure. That's a special moment you'll obviously always remember.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of regional tournaments, I know this was on the boys' side, but you guys just hosted the regional tournament. For those who don't understand how much work goes into that stuff, can you explain it a little bit?
So it goes back. The boys wrestle their district tournaments. You have to place in the top 4 to move on to regionals, and at regionals, you have to place the top 4 to go to state. Well, at Bay High School, we don't host an average tournament. We are going to host one of the best tournaments.
Yep.
We start Thursday immediately after school setting up, and it's ready to go Friday morning. And it is everything from barricades around the mats to a coach's room with prime rib. Like, it is top notch, but it is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. And luckily, the school supports us and allows us to host these functions.
That's awesome. Obviously, a lot of pride goes into hosting a tournament like that. Now, on your timeline to get, going down to the state tournament there in the Orlando area, so what's next on the agenda, for heading down to state?
So we hit the road tomorrow morning to Silver Spurs Arena down in Kissimmee in Orlando. And when we get there, Sarah and I will go check in, and we'll take a couple of the girls with us because they have a 2-hour open mat time. So they can go out, they can wrestle, they can warm up, they can practice some on the actual mats that they will be using for the state tournament. It kind of gets them comfortable with it. And so they'll have 2 hours then. We'll check into our Airbnb. And then Thursday, she has to be there for weigh-ins at 11:30, and we start wrestling at 12:30. And the state tournament is a 2-and-out tournament. And so if you win your first match the first day, you're done for that day. But if you lose, you got one more shot that day to win a match.
So you have to win 1 out of 2 to advance to the next day?
Yep.
She's got that.
I think so.
She's got that. What's your coaching philosophy when it comes to developing female wrestlers?
It's a little bit different than what I'd say our boys coaches say. The boys coaches are tough love and love on them later.
Yep.
And I know with girls, they need a little bit more nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
They need a little bit more pat on the back. But you also have to push and understand that there are times to push them, to make them work hard and let them understand that. And I do it with the whole team. I'll say, somebody will say, oh, my knees hurt. And I'll say, okay, who else's knees hurt? And everybody's raising their hands.
Yep. And
so it's helping them realize that they're not the only ones struggling at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a team. Everybody's dealing with that all together. That's a great strategy there for sure. Obviously, you mentioned that differs from the boys. What traits make a great wrestler beyond strength? Obviously, I'm sure there's a lot of mental toughness.
There's mental toughness. There's perseverance. There's overcoming obstacles. I think a lot of our kids, there's an app called Track Wrestling. You can look at your opponent's records. You can look at their previous matches. And I think it's stopping the fear that comes into them. And that's a major thing. Zach Deaton is one of our coaches, and he is so good at talking to the kids. Especially he talked to Sarah before her regional matches about getting out of your own mind and just go out and wrestle. The fear's not helping you.
Well, and kids that age and stuff like that, that always seems the biggest thing that creeps into your mind is the fear of, the fear of losing, the fear of, not living up to your goals and all that kind of stuff. So that I think in sports, that's one of the hardest things to overcome. So the fact that you've got somebody specifically that works on that and developing that mental toughness in your athletes is so huge. In addition to mental toughness and strength, how important is discipline and accountability in your program?
Oh my gosh. Discipline is tough with the kids because, especially in wrestling, you have to make weight. Yeah. So they have to be disciplined from when we start their preseason tournament, which is the end of November, through the beginning of March, being disciplined on what they're eating, how they're working out, especially with females. They've got hormone surges that they have to deal with. So being disciplined.
And you have to be exactly that weight,
exactly.
right?
You have to be exactly on weight or under.
Or under. Gotcha.
If you are 1 ounce over, you're done.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's tough. Then do you guys help them with the programs? Do you give them programs for the weight training, the nutrition stuff? How does that all work?
We try to. We also tell our kids, we don't tell them they have to cut. There is a persona from years and years of wrestlers cutting in the wrong and the dangerous ways.
Yeah.
We go over the right ways to cut, what foods to eat, to avoid all of the what is now illegal ways to cut. And so we go over all of that with the kids. We still see some kids that struggle, but I also have seen the same kids at the gas stations or Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And then my girls on my team this year thought it was funny to tag me an Instagram post of Taco Bell or Sweet Frogs. And they're like, Coach, I'm going to make weight. Like, thanks. Thanks for reassuring this.
Yep. Nice. I'm just curious because you mentioned, what are illegal ways to cut weight?
Sauna suits. You'll see a lot of kids dehydrate themselves in a very dangerous way, but the biggest thing is the sauna suits that are illegal.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's like back in the day putting on the trash bags and riding the exercise bike and that kind of stuff.
Or we have a parent that tells us how they would drink milkshakes until they would vomit it all up on purpose. And I'm like,
why?
Yeah.
Just control what you're eating and work out to the right amount. What does a typical practice week look like for you guys during the season?
During the season, it is every single day, 5 days a week. You're in the room at 3:00, putting on your running shoes. You're going for a run. We're going to do sprints in the courtyard. We're going to come back in the room. We're going to stretch, and then we're going to start. And we're practicing until 5:30 or 6:00 every day.
How much weight training is involved in that particular schedule?
We do not have access to the weight training room at Bay except for the weeks of conditioning, which are the 2 weeks prior to the season starting. Gotcha. And we get very limited time in there. And so our big push is go to the gym after practice, go do extra running after practice.
So that really falls into that discipline as well.
Bingo.
Because that's not you guys are obviously telling them to do that, but that's not on campus. It's
right.
You're not there with them.
We're not holding their hands doing it.
Yeah, so that's a big thing that they have to deal with, that discipline stuff. How do you prepare your girls for high-pressure tournament situations?
I feel like I'm going through that right now, and it's basically keeping them out of their head.
Yeah. It's
talking to them about their strengths, their weaknesses, what they know, their ability on the mat, and just stick with that. A lot of these girls deal with boy drama, and it's keeping all of that out. And even the boys do. They deal with girlfriend drama.
Yep.
It's keeping that outside of the wrestling room, outside of matches. A lot of times it's asking their significant other not to come to the tournament because it messes with their heads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
A lot of outside of factors there that can certainly get in your head. This is kind of what's like what I asked before about Sarah separating herself from everybody else. What separates a state qualifier from everybody else?
Perseverance and dedication.
Gotcha.
We have some kids that I think could have qualified this year, but they weren't disciplined enough. And I think that's the difference. We have 2 boys that I really thought were going to qualify who did have the discipline, who did have the perseverance. They were just in really hard weight classes, which was disappointing because I watched these kids work their tails off.
Gotcha. Yeah. What makes a weight class more difficult than the other?
So I will say I think the hardest weight classes are right in the middle. A lot of the 130 girls to 155, you're getting really fast girls. And the tiny ones are super fast, but you're getting strength. You're getting closer to 155 or the more muscular girls. Mosley has a girl, Tarina, who wrestles 170, and she is solid muscle. The heavyweight girls, which are 235, a lot of times you're seeing if they can be a little bit quicker than the other person, then they have the advantage for it. But yeah, I would say the middle weight classes are fast and they're strong. So I would say the middle weight classes are probably more difficult.
Now, do you guys do anything specific for foot speed, hand speed, that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. We do ladder drills, all the different drills that go with it. A lot of times it's stuff that the football team is doing too.
Yep, absolutely. So, absolutely. What is and it's probably going to be the region tournament from a couple weeks ago. What is your most memorable duel or tournament so far?
It probably would be the regional tournament this year, watching some of these girls punch their tickets. The tournament going, the districts going to regionals, watching the girls that have worked really hard punch a ticket to regionals, and then watching my daughter defeat a girl who had beat her twice, who placed in state last year, was just incredible. And then there was the match that punched her ticket to state. I will never forget that moment.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a local girl that she beat who's incredibly kind, incredibly talented. I was sad for her, but I'm sorry. I'm super excited for my daughter.
Of course, it's the seesaw of emotions, especially when you know
in
the
a
other
small
person.
town.
Yeah,
yes, we
everybody
all know
knows
each other.
everybody here, yeah, absolutely. What is the biggest adjustment for newer wrestlers that they struggle with?
Time commitment.
Gotcha.
Wrestling season carries over through Thanksgiving. It carries over through Christmas break. It is, especially for the families too, it is an adjustment and a commitment that we go over and over at the initial parent meeting, because it's everyday practice and it's every single weekend we're at a tournament. And a lot of them aren't local. So we're having to travel, and they do miss a lot of school. So they have to keep up with their studies.
Gotcha.
I would say that's.
So all the matches, tournaments, they're not during the school week?
No, they are on the weekends. Once in a blue moon, we might have something on a Thursday afternoon. But no, we're traveling Fridays and Saturdays and coming back Sundays most of the time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So if you're looking to get out of school on Fridays, you can be a wrestler.
There you go.
That's for sure. What has made Bay High such a strong environment for girls wrestling?
I think we have an incredible athletic director. He has supported us and backed us and has answered any questions or been there for us, and has understood when we needed financial funding. He fought for us with the school district, and he understands the amount of funding it takes for us to travel. I mean, the travel expense.
Yeah, if you're
outrageous.
on the move every Friday,
yes.
that definitely is a little more or needing more funds than other sports for sure.
It's great to have an athletic director that supports us.
That's awesome. Good stuff there. Good stuff. The state championship journey. What is the difference between the boys and the girls?
So boys have 1A, 2A, and 3A in the state. They are broken up. So it's the same thing. It's the top 4 in each weight class for 1A, 2A, and 3A. Girls, there's only 1A. And so you're fighting for the top 16 spots in the whole state.
The entire state of Florida.
Yes. And so even my husband the other day said, she's going to be wrestling some of the best girls in the state. And I said, Alan,
it's the state tournament.
Right. She's one of the top 16 of the whole state. And he was like, there's no breakup. I was like, no. Girls, it is 1A.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Just one classification for every single.
Yes, they're hoping to break it up
in
the next year or two.
Gotcha. Well, if it's anything like football, they'll change it every year. So
constant.
That's what's crazy. You already mentioned the athletic director, but how has the support from the school and the community impacted the program?
I will say the community is amazing. Mark Deaton is the boys' head coach and has been for years and years. And with his reputation, his son Zach, Mark Mulligan, whose father brought wrestling to Bay County, they have such an outreach in the community that when we say we need donations or we need food donated for the tournaments or we need funding to go to tournaments, it is amazing that the community has supported us. And even when I established the girls program, I put a post out there of we can't afford singlets. We're wearing the boys' singlets with T-shirts underneath them. We had a donor come in and purchase all our singlets for us.
I mean, and that's just such a testament to Bay County as a whole. It's such a wonderful community to be a part in. They've certainly impacted my life quite a bit. What does it mean to represent Bay High on the mat?
I will say my husband went to Bay High. His parents went to Bay High. And it is kind of instilled in me Bay High. And so we knew our kids would go there. Our son was in the band. He wrestled. And now our daughter. And so you have Bay High pride.
Yep, absolutely.
And it's fun. And I took the girls to a tournament in St. Augustine this year, and they didn't know who Bay High was. And we left, and everyone knew who we were.
Everybody
so
knew
it was
Bay
fun.
High was done after that.
Yep.
How would you identify how would you describe the identity of the Bay High girls wrestling team in 3 words?
I would say persistent, encouraging, and kind.
I love that third one there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's what you see in girls wrestling is a lot of the girls are friends with everyone else on other teams. And they also know the dedication and hard work they've put in. And I feel like my team is very kind to each other. and kind to other teams.
Good. I mean, because that's a huge part of it as well. I mean, obviously wrestling is fierce and aggressive and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, we're all still humans, right? And we're all still friends in the same community. So being kind, obviously, is a huge part of it. That's awesome. Pre-high school, what is the way for boys and girls to get involved with wrestling, and how do they get started?
Okay, so there are several clubs in the area. We are a part of one called Coastline, and it starts at elementary school age and goes all the way through high school. It will kick back up in April, and it is free except for a USA membership, which I think is like $40. And it's a USA Wrestling membership. It's basically covers insurance.
Gotcha.
We practice over at Mosley at the Haney wrestling room that they have set up, and we're hoping to do some at Bay this year too. But it's kids from all over the community come in, and they start with very basic wrestling and go all the way up through high school, and they get it underneath them.
Coastline
Wrestling Academy.
Got it. Awesome stuff. Kind of some rapid fire questions. What is the toughest weight class to coach?
I would say the 235s. And that's why I brought my son back in to be one of the assistant coaches this year, because he wrestled heavyweight.
Gotcha.
It's a different style.
Absolutely. What is your favorite move to teach?
Oh, gosh. You're looking at a switch. You're looking at putting in a half. Basic stuff.
Gotcha.
I leave the hard stuff to some of the men coaches that get in there and really wrestle with them.
Most intense drill?
Oh, gosh. They hate the wrestler mile, and I think it's hilarious. It's running the stadium. You're running a lap, then you're doing all the stairs.
Yep.
And then you're running a lap and doing all the stairs. And I threaten with that all the time. If y'all don't work harder, we're going to do a wrestler mile.
That sounds intense for sure. I grew up playing ice hockey, and before every game, we had to run the stairs in the stadium we played in.
My brother did the same.
Yeah. I mean, it gets everything. And by the time you're done with it, you're ready to play at that point. So the stadium, what is it called?
Wrestler mile.
Wrestler mile. I like that.
They hate it.
That includes a lap in between sets of stairs.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have to be in insanely good shape to be able to do that. So obviously, it works. The hardest tournament environment.
Oh, I would say, state is obviously hard.
Yeah.
But the tournament that we host in January called the George Mulligan, we have teams from Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. They all come, and it is an extremely hard tournament. And it's the end of January, so it's preparing them for the postseason. And you'll see kids that will place at state that didn't place at the Mulligan because we've got teams from other states coming in.
So
it is wild.
Yep, that's cool. I've heard of that before. That name sounds super familiar. Your pre-match hype song.
Oh, gosh. Each kid has their own.
Yeah.
They wear their headphones now, and you'll see them. I don't even want to know what's on my daughter's.
Yep.
So she has her headphones and gets ready.
Who's the most competitive kid on the team?
Ooh. It would either be probably Sarah, or I have a young lady named Tamaya. And she wrestled for her first year last year and struggled, and this year just turned it on.
Just killed it. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's competitive.
It's fun to see them grow like that, that's for sure. Yeah. What misconceptions still exist about girls wrestling?
A lot of times people think you're only going to practice or wrestle boys, or that the girls aren't as tough as boys. And I'll tell you this, my girls will practice with the boys sometime, and the boys don't like practicing with the girls.
Sure. Yeah. We're a very sissy group of people, that's for sure.
It's interesting, yeah.
Where do you see Bay High's girls wrestling in 5 years?
Oh, gosh. I keep telling them that they get me for one more year because Sarah will be a senior next year, but I think I'll stick around, and I really see the program growing. We've already got girls who are interested in joining next year, and they want to go ahead and join the club this summer, and so that they can be prepared for next year. So I just see it continually getting better.
Continually to growth. Yep. What's Sarah's future looking? What is her goals in wrestling?
She goes back and forth about if she's going to wrestle in college. The scholarship opportunity is huge for female wrestlers because it's the fastest growing sport in America. And so she knows that this week she will probably have a couple of different colleges talk to her. And she's interested in it. Originally, she said, I'll go to Arizona. I'm like, you're not leaving that far. There's other schools closer you can wrestle. So we'll see.
Yep.
We'll see how the next this tournament goes and how her senior season goes.
That's awesome. You had mentioned before that the community is so supportive. Is there anything else that the community could do to better support the program?
Oh, my gosh. We're always in need of funds. I mean, every sport is.
Yeah.
And even this weekend, I was talking to a couple of the other coaches, including some of the football coach staff. I mean, the school needs help with supplies, even barricades and stuff that we could use for multiple sports. it's just the community involvement and funding is the biggest issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, every sport and every school could probably
We're a
use it.
Title I school. I mean, I have personally funded a lot of these kids' programs and their fees, or take laundry home to wash it for them, or give them a little $5 to afford a meal. And so it is, being a Title I school makes it difficult.
Are there some middle school athletes that compete at the high school level?
Oh, there are. There was a 7th grader this past weekend, wrestles in the 113. His record is 33-0, and he's going to state. He won regions, he won districts. There are schools like North Bay Haven and Rutherford who already have middle school on campus, so they're allowed to have those kids practice with them. Bay High does not. Jinx does not have a middle school program. And so we're hoping that that will be established in the next couple of years, that we can get these feeder programs to help the area schools around here, because all over the state there are schools that have middle schoolers that are just incredible to watch.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, obviously, hopefully we'll continue. Josh has done a great job kind of implementing new sports in Bay County, not just at the varsity high school level, but also in the middle school level as well. So
Josh
hopefully
is awesome.
Maybe that'll bleed down a little bit. Yeah, Josh has been wonderful for our community, that's for sure. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, but first I want to talk about Panhandle Credit Union. They are all about quality relationships in the community, whether it's donating to a community event, sponsoring your child's sports team. They are here to help us out in the community. Check out their great banking products: loans, savings accounts, checking accounts, mortgages. Whatever your banking needs are, Panhandle Credit Union can handle it. Visit any branch location or head online to panhandlecu.org. We'll be right back. Episode 50 of the Inside Drive podcast, hanging out with girls varsity wrestling coach Sarah Branch. And of course, she's also the assistant coach for the boys team as well. We'll be right back. And welcome back, episode 50 of the Inside Drive podcast. If you were tuned in, we've been hanging out with Coach Anna Branch. She is the head varsity girls wrestling coach and the assistant wrestling coach to the boys varsity team as well. Do want to thank American Charlie's. As you guys know, American Charlie's is our Athlete of the Week sponsor, with a $50 gift card each week to a different athlete here from Bay County. They're your favorite American restaurant, conveniently located at the shops at Edgewater next to Firefly and Rocket Lanes. They've got great daily specials, private rooms available for parties, tons of TVs for all your sporting events. One of my favorite things, they do daily military and first responder discounts. They have all your American favorites: fried chicken, pot roast specials, wings, burgers, shrimp, all those classic American dishes. They are now on DoorDash to get your American Charlie's delivered right to your door. They're also doing a daily happy hour from 4 to 6 p.m., as well as their Early Eagle menu, which is entrees with 2 sides for just $14. For more details, just search American Charlie's Grill and Tavern on Facebook, or visit them at americancharlies.com. I do want to mention a new dish that I had over there this past Friday night. I was on the call for the Mosley-Arnold girls flag football game, which ties into our American Charlie's Athlete of the Week, and I had the tuna nachos, and they were fantastic. Like, the nacho chips were like little wonton chips. It was so, so good. Speaking of our American Charlie's Athlete of the Week, for this week, which is always the prior week, and I award the athlete the next week, was the Arnold girls flag football team's Emma Krelling. She plays middle linebacker. She had 5 interceptions in last Friday's 14-0 victory for Arnold over Mosley. Five interceptions is crazy, though, for any sport. So kudos to Emma. She plays middle linebacker on the defense and is a daughter of a good friend of mine. So it's really cool to see her succeed so well. She's also the varsity goalkeeper and the center for the varsity on the basketball team as well. So just an all-around really, really good athlete. But congratulations to Emma. She's already received her $50 gift card there to American Charlie's. And thanks again to American Charlie's for sponsoring our Athlete of the Week. Because as I always say, I'd love to give shout-outs to athletes locally here that deserve it. Speaking of some other athletes, there's some other girls from around the area that have qualified for the state as well.
There's a couple of them. North Bay Haven had 2 go through. Addie Newfield is actually a middle schooler, and she made it through at, I think she's at 100 pounds.
That's crazy.
Nova Estrada is at 120 pounds, I believe, and they're both at North Bay Haven. And then Mosley had 2 girls get through. Jules is 145 pounds, and then Tarina Rushing is at 170 pounds. So we have 5 girls from the local teams that are headed down there.
Just curious, what's the lowest weight class and what's the highest weight class?
100 and then 235. Gotcha. And so it breaks down in between there. There's 14 weight classes.
Dang.
Yeah.
Is it like every 10 pounds or is it staggered?
The first ones it goes every 5 pounds up to 145, and then it's 155, 70, 90, and 235.
Gotcha. Also, some shout outs for some wrestlers from Arnold High School. 2 weeks ago, 12 wrestlers competed at the FHSAA district tournament, and 7 advanced to the FHSAA regionals at Childs High School. All 7 battled their way into day 2 of the 2-day event. On day 2, 4 of the 7 placed in the top 4 and punched their tickets to the FHSAA Boys Wrestling State Finals this weekend in Kissimmee, as she mentioned, at Silver Spurs Arena. David Crilly placed first. Julian Razavi placed second. Tajay Richard placed third. Brandon Walsingham had 4th place. These 4 young men are ready to represent Arnold with pride at the state finals. Arnold High School wants to wish them the best of luck. A lot of wrestlers here from Bay County heading down to Silver Spurs Arena.
Mosley has 1 boy. North Bay Haven has a handful of them that are going.
Nice.
So we're excited for them.
Good stuff. It's kind of like the weightlifting side of things as well. Kind of a lot of boys and girls scattered from the area heading down there for those state finals. Have you been to a flag football game yet on the girls' side?
I have not. I've read some of the excitement, seen some videos. I'm excited for them. I'm all for any girls doing sports.
Absolutely. I think it's just such an opportunity, for on the girls' side of things. And the games are so fun and exciting I call the games the play-by-play from the booth for the Arnold home games. So to have kind of that county rivalry atmosphere last Friday night was pretty special. The crowd was actually pretty decent as well, both from Mosley and Arnold. And I know Arnold's going to have the band at one of the games here coming up soon. But it's just a completely new sport. Mm-hmm. The rules are different, but the premise is still trying to, pass and run the football. But it was 0-0 the first quarter, 0-0 the second quarter, and then Arnold scored 14 in the third quarter, which came off a lot of those Krelling interceptions. And then Arnold was able to shut out Mosley in the fourth quarter to win the game 14-0. Arnold has not allowed a single point yet this year in their 4 games. They are 4-0. They played in a preseason tournament, which was against some really good teams like Choctaw and stuff like that. Now, they allowed some points in that, but that wasn't the official start of the season. Right. That was really cool, too, that they did that because it was a free tournament to go compete where the Jaguars practice and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So the opportunities that these girls are getting are pretty special.
I love it. I'm going to have to make it out to a game sometime.
Absolutely. I want to get to one over there at Tommy Oliver Stadium as well.
And Coach Bailey's a good coach, so that'll be fun.
Absolutely. Should be a lot of fun indeed. And, of course, I'm sure we've had 2 new girls' sports in the last couple of years. Beach volleyball a couple of years ago, which is going on now, I believe. And, of course, flag football as well on the girls' side. And then just want to talk about a few things before we get out of here. Still got a little bit of time. This is kind of just a random fun fact. Michael Jordan owns a race team called 23XI Racing. Tyler Reddick has won 3 straight tournaments on the brain, of course. 3 straight race, which is historic in NASCAR. No team has ever won 3 straight. The first one was the Daytona 500 on February 15th, followed by the Auto Trader 400 up there at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And then this past weekend, he won the Duramax Texas Grand Prix in Austin on March 1st. Starting from the pole, led 58 of the 95 laps, and then ended up finishing the road course with the victory again. So that is the first time in history that a race team has won 3 straight races with the same driver. Obviously, race teams have multiple drivers, so they've had that happen before. And Michael Jordan had 2 3-peats in his NBA career and now has a 3-peat there in the racing circuit. And then real quick, a couple combine stats. You could obviously say Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame probably had the best combine. He's probably the best player in that draft as well. But just some I find this stuff so interesting. On the 40-yard dash, Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State, he's a wide receiver, led this year's combine with a 4.26, followed by Lorenzo Styles, who's is a safety for Ohio State with a 4.27 seconds. And then Xavion Thomas, wide receiver from LSU, ran a 4.28. Numbers that these kids, or young adults, I should say, are insane. I wonder what the highest vertical jump was. Eli Stowers, who's a tight end for Vanderbilt. And if you watched a lot of Vanderbilt games, he was the number 1 target there for Diego Pavia and won a lot of games. 45.5 inches on his vertical as a tight end, and I believe he's like 280 pounds or something like that. People that big shouldn't be able to jump that high. Tyler Green, who's actually a quarterback, or Talon Green's a quarterback from Arkansas. He had a 43.5-inch vertical. Crazy for a quarterback there. And then D'Angelo Pons, he's a cornerback from Indiana. I think we remember his name from the national championship there with a couple picks. 43.5 on the vertical. That shouldn't even be legal, or shouldn't be physically possible to jump that high. And then the only one that's kind of visual is the broad jump, which is just a standing broad jump. And Ted Hurst, he's a wide receiver from Georgia, broad jumped 11 feet 3 inches, followed by Eli Stowers, that same tight end with the massive vertical, jumped 11 feet 3 inches as well. So a tie on that. And then several players with 11 feet 2 inches on that broad jump. And then the bench press, which, if I remember correctly, is 235 pounds. It's not how much you can do, it's how many times you can do. So David Gusta, he's a defensive tackle from Kentucky, put up 37 reps in the bench press, which I think I can see what the record was. Top performers in bench. Let's see what the record was. It was something ridiculous. Stephen Paella, which sounds like the Spanish dish, did 49 reps back in 2011. His NFL career with the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, ended a little bit short because he had a injury that just kind of shortened his career there, unfortunately. But 49 reps at 235. Couldn't even think about even doing that once. That would never happen. Just some quick key early trades and transactions from the NFL side of things. Obviously, the combine is now over, so now we're getting ready for the draft, which doesn't happen to the end of April. But there's been some interesting moves so far. The Texans and the Lions had a trade where I believe his nickname was Sonic was Jahmyr Gibbs, and then Knuckles was David Montgomery. So the Sonic Knuckles pairing is no longer up there in Detroit, as the Texans acquired David Montgomery to pair with their backfield, while Detroit gained some depth in the offensive line, picking up Scruggs, and then got some additional picks as well. I believe 5th-round picks, if I remember correctly. And then the Browns and Texans had a trade where the Browns acquired offensive lineman tackle Titus Howard to improve their offensive line, and they just gave up some draft capital for that. The Chiefs released offensive tackle Jawan Taylor to clear up $20 million in cap space. The Commanders released longtime quarterback Marshawn Lattimore. The Seahawks tendered exclusive rights for free agent running back George Halani and safety Ty Okada. Those are obviously all the things that have happened as of yesterday. There'll be a lot more that we'll keep you updated on throughout this process, because there'll be a lot more as we get closer to that draft. Which, with how fast things have gone, we're already in March. Which is how fast things have gone. We're already here, so it'll be here right before we know it. As I always do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, got to give a shout out to those UA sports teams. We'll start with the girls soccer team. We are 8-0-1. We play Bayhaven this afternoon at 4 p.m. For those who know middle school soccer or may not know middle school soccer, Bayhaven and University of Academy have played in the county championship the last 5 years running. This is what I would call one of the most fierce rivalries in middle school sports. Always a good game. Last year, we beat them in the championship game 6-1, so I know they're going to be coming for us in this game, and then hopefully maybe down the road for another championship matchup. So big game tonight, this afternoon for the girls. If we win this one, we'll stay the number 1 seed. So big goal for us there. And then boys basketball, who is 7-2 on the season, they will play Rutherford at home this afternoon as well. Actually, I think it's at Rutherford. I'd have to double check that, but I believe it's at Rutherford, who's one of the top teams in middle school. So it'll be interesting to see how they hang with them today. And then I always do some other local stuff going on in the area. Basketball is really what's going on right now. Not basketball, baseball. I apologize. Let me pull up Max Preps here fairly quickly. Kind of the spring season is well underway. I know track season gets underway here shortly as well. In the area, we've got Arnold and Rutherford. Rutherford will be traveling over to Arnold. That is boys baseball. And then I know Arnold girls flag football team plays Rutherford again, this time at Margaret Champlain Field. Not on the new turf field, which looks beautiful out there, but on the soccer field that all the middle schools play at. Softball, Arnold travels to Walton, as well as Bozeman traveling to Mariana. Bozeman is 6-0 on the young season. Oh. And then on the baseball side of things, a big matchup between Mosley and Childs. Mosley is 6-1, Childs is 6-3. Another girls flag football game in the area. Mosley is traveling over to South Walton. Mosley is 1-1 with their loss to Arnold last Friday. South Walton has not won a game yet on the season at 0-4 for Varsity softball, you got Mosley traveling to Rutherford, the battle of the teams that have not won a game yet. 0-5 Mosley. Rutherford this is their first game, I guess, of the season. And then last but not least, Bay and Bozeman on the varsity baseball side of things. Bay is 4-2. Bozeman is 6-2. That'll be played up there at Bozeman. And of course, we'll update you on these scores when we get back to our Thursday show. Anna, anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here today?
No, I'd just like to say thank you for having us on and recognizing girls wrestling.
Absolutely. And again, Coastline Wrestling Club.
Yep, Coastline Wrestling Academy. It'll start in April, and we'll get information out.
Absolutely. And I'm sure they got a Facebook page and all sorts of information about that. Again, appreciate you coming in. Good luck as you make when's the actual days?
Thursday is the first day of wrestling.
Perfect.
Yep.
You guys are traveling down tomorrow afternoon.
Traveling down tomorrow.
Thursday's the first day.
Thursday's the first day. They wrestle Friday, and Saturday's all the finals.
Just tell her to win that first one on Thursday.
All she's gotta do. Yes.
That's it. And then you just move on to the next round in that particular thing. Again, thank you for coming in. Appreciate your time. I know you're very busy, especially this time of year. And again, we appreciate all of our sponsors. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That is not just live. That is also our edited, produced podcast pages. And of course, we're live on Facebook as well. Make sure you follow the Inside Drive Facebook page. And of course, as of tomorrow afternoon, most likely, it'll be posted on Apple, Spotify, Audible, iHeart, anywhere where you get your podcast. The Inside Drive will be there. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday with David and Jay in studio. Episode 50. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.